We are live now. Good afternoon, good morning, good evening, Etowah, whenever you're watching this. Guys, as always, I'm going to start a 4-minute clock here, and we're going to get started with Mr. Tim Ramsey here to talk about the county commission and his reelection campaign for his county commission seat. So let me get that clock started. So if you're watching this down the road, you can go ahead and skim on through until we're done with the 4 minutes. But we're going to let some folks jump on and we'll get going. So there's the clock. As always, guys, please do throw your questions in there if you've got any questions. And be sure, please, right now, especially if you're watching, like and share, and let me know that you can hear me. Tim, how you doing this morning?
I'm doing very well, thank you.
Getting hit up by some pollen.
Yeah, excuse me for coughing and clearing my throat like I think most people are right now, but pollen is thick.
I think I've started my round of Claritin. But yeah, guys, so as you're jumping on, again, just somebody put in the comments that you can hear us fine, because I don't want to sit here and have a great conversation and nobody hears. That's my number one fear. I'm fine if you can't see us. So some might say I've got a face for radio, but Facebook doesn't have that option. So again, hit that like and that share and tag somebody that might be interested. So I've got most of the inputs, I think, from particularly the candidates that will be in the primaries on May 24th. Again, we'll keep hitting this up over and over again. May 24th is critical. Everyone that is being voted on in the primaries in Etowah County in May, that's it. That's the vote. Whoever survives that, they're going to be the only name on the ballot come election time. So that is a critical thing. I want to make sure if you're talking to your neighbors, you're talking to folks at work, make sure you understand that this is not just, oh, that's a Republican primary, Democratic primary. This is truly the vote for county commission and our state representatives. So that's it. So I guess actually that gives you guys a fairly short campaigning season.
Very short campaigning system. Actually, it seemed like it got stretched out. I think the sheriff's race jumped out there real early, and I really don't like to campaign. I don't like to be involved in all that and all the stuff that goes on with campaigning, either positive or negative. It's just really time consuming when you could be doing other things. You could be doing what I call better things, but you're out putting up signs and campaigning, which I started pretty much yesterday, which is a week ahead of what I like to do on campaigning or on putting signs out. I'm an anti-sign person. I don't like them on our roadways. I don't like the clutter. I don't like that going on for 3 or 4 months. I don't think it's necessary. I wish they had a law that said it can only be done for 6 weeks. And it's 6 weeks out. That's when you get to do it. I don't know why we couldn't do that as a local law.
Yeah.
It says in Etowah County, we have signs out for 6 weeks. If you can't see them in 6 weeks, you're probably not going to see them.
Well, I know most of the billboard companies would disagree with you. See all the billboards
group.
getting.
It's a small group.
I know. Hey, I'm a digital guy, and I know my news feed on Facebook is filled up with a lot of sponsored ads right now. From a lot of candidates, but
I wouldn't care if it was on the news feed on Facebook. And
well, that's because you don't spend much time on Facebook.
Well, I don't spend much time on Facebook. I'm old school, and I don't surf Facebook all the time. I don't stay connected like I probably should. But billboards, social media, all that stuff, put it out there. That's fine. Yeah. You can avoid that. You can't avoid it on the side of the road, and that's the part I'm talking about. Is just don't litter up our roadways for 3 or 4 months with all this clutter. Let's put a 6 weeks. I mean, that's enough.
Yeah.
Everybody will jump out there probably in 2 days and get them all out there, and we'll all see the mess. And then in 6 weeks, they need to get them up.
Well,
anyway, there's my 2 cents for that.
I don't know. What are your thoughts? Throw it in the comments. Do you like all the signs? And Yeah. How many signs do you have in your yard? Maybe that's what we should start a countywide contest on how many signs will fit in your yard. I mean, that would really
Like
pretty things
flamingos.
up.
Kind of like
Yes. Yes.
flamingos. That might be something you could do for a good friend of yours. Just go drop out about 40 campaign signs in their yard for them.
Oh, this conversation's going to get off the rails quick. So, all right, let's move on from signs. So, welcome, everybody. We're going to jump in. Tim Ramsey running for his seat again for county commission. Serving. This is coming off your first term in the county commission. We'll jump into kind of what a little bit of your background is, but guys. Want to remind you, you go to advanceetowah.com. Election 22 is in the menu. Click on that. You go to who's running. I've got all the candidate profiles, Tim's answers to the questions that we've put out there concerning the issues that we're really pushing. They're all starting to get populated. So I encourage you to go there and look and take a look. Look and take a look. Sorry, that was redundant. So the other thing, as we jump in with Tim, I want to just be completely transparent as I do all of these. Tim is actually between Tim and Craig Lipscomb are the only two politicians that I really knew before any of this rendering plant stuff occurred, because we've been going to church together for years. So I just want to clear that out there. If anybody is going to throw a spear at me, but I think the intent of all of these conversations is to get at the issues with our county and talk through. I'm not here to try and sit and debate. Just want to kind of facilitate some discussion with the folks. And as we've always done with these so far, and the way we'll continue to do it. Most of this, the answers, the discussion is in context of what we think should be our main focus as a community, which is business growth. We've got to raise the median household income across Etowah County if we ever want to do anything else to address any of the other issues. And I think the rendering plant highlighted a lot of aspects, which is where we've pulled a lot of our the concepts and the kind of the foundational core principles. Again, not trying to dismiss any.
Screen looks better.
Yep. All right. I'm having issues, guys. Hold on just a second. Let me reset on my camera and see what's going on. Give me a quick second. Well, all right. I'm gonna say that's embarrassing. Yeah,
We broke the camera right out of the gate.
Ain't got no gas in it. Hey, we're off to a good start. So where was I? Yeah. So again, with what we're kind of talking about and trying to narrow the conversation that we're having, as we've come out and we've said, elections is really the thing that is truly going to end a lot of this rendering plant discussion. And move us forward where we think we need to go. We don't want to dismiss it. We've got a ton of issues in Etowah County, and a lot of it is specific to the various communities. And we don't mean to dismiss any of that kind of stuff, but what we're really looking at is how does all of it come together? How does it work together as Etowah County? How do the different components of government, boards, all that kind of stuff, get us moving towards growing business from within and attracting new business. So, all right, let's get started. the first thing, just if you can give me the short version, the non-politics side of who is Tim Ramsey, just for everybody to have a little bit of a context
Okay.
of what a little bit of your background is, and then we'll jump in. So,
All right. Well, I'm gonna start with just saying thank you for what you're doing here and for what it's doing for the community. It is engaging the community and making us, I think, a stronger, closer community, and I'm appreciative of that.
well, thank you.
That being said, I'm Tim Ramsey. Been that way all my life, but I'm married to Laura Ramsey. Been married coming up on 37 years. We have 3 children. I got 2 daughters and 1 son. My daughters, well, the whole family's in healthcare, kind of related stuff. I guess we've laughed about that. We start off with the rec scene where I'm a paramedic. I've been with the fire department for 30 years, and so I'm a paramedic, and I'm on the scene at the fire department, and get you an ambulance, and we get you to the hospital. Well, my daughter's a critical care nurse, one of them.
Okay.
So she kind of takes care of you there and then gets it moving forward. And then if you have breathing problems, my other daughter's a respiratory therapist. She can kind of work on that for you. And then I have a son-in-law who's a physical therapist, and he'll kind of pull you on through. And then so
Okay.
we're moving forward in that whole realm. So
Okay.
I have 3 children. My 2 daughters are married. One husband, again, is a physical therapist. The other one works at Honda. I want to talk about that in a minute. That's kind of another segue into one of the things that I'm excited about.
Okay.
I have a son who works at Lowe's.
Okay.
He helps load and stuff like that. One of the happiest people you'll ever meet.
Yeah.
He's a pretty neat guy. And then back in the family tree, I guess he's got a girlfriend who's a pharmacy tech. So if you need some medication on your way out of the hospital,
Gotcha.
we can cover the whole base.
Wow, you really really are.
We just laughing. We were laughing about that last weekend about we've got this healthcare thing covered I almost forgot, and I shouldn't have done that. My wife is the director of health information, so once it's all done, she packages up your health record and puts it all together.
All right. And you are from Gadsden area?
I am born and raised here in Etowah County in Rainbow City.
Okay.
Pretty much all my life. Went to Southside High School, graduated in 1980. Tells my age there. I just clipped 60 the other day.
All right.
A few months ago.
And you are about to hit retirement from the fire department, correct?
I'm so excited about that. It's been a great career. I'm very blessed to have had a career with the Gadsden Fire Department. I've been there over 30 years. I'm a paramedic with them. I'm an assistant chief rank now, which never thought that would happen, but just through attrition and stuff, it kind of fell in place. And so I'm honored to be an assistant chief with the fire department. But
well, I would definitely say I'm sure most everybody would echo the sentiment of thank you for what you've done. I'm sure you've seen some things that the rest of us don't want to see, and dealt with some issues that the rest of us don't want to deal with, and we appreciate that. And of course, I hope when we talk about the first responder issues around here, that I know you've got some good insight in there. Obviously we're going to kind of couch everything under the role in county commission and all that kind of stuff, because I think we could have a whole other conversation about the Gadsden Fire Department and just the first responder issues that we have locally and nationally. All right, so let's jump in. And like I've said in previous ones, none of this is meant to be a hour-long discussion about the rendering plant. But I do want to start with, because that's the first couple of questions there that we sent out. What was, because well, I'll leave it at, what was your role in the rendering plant as it went through, what we dealt with the last year and a half? What have you kind of been, in there? So to get on the record,
start off with what a mess. I'm glad that mess is somewhat behind us. I think it is dead in the water. I think we've just got to get moving. But to give a personal account of that, we were approached as a county commission to look at this. We looked at it at our site. It didn't fit. There was a lot of negatives to it. There wasn't many positives to it, and we declined it. And so that we were under a non-disclosure agreement. So nobody really ever knew that. And we just walked away from it and thought, well, that was that, and nothing we wanted.
Okay.
And it wasn't anything that we had anything to do with. It was, it was coming from the state through David Hooks to us. And
Yep.
once we said it doesn't fit our profile here, then it moved away from us, and I pretty much forgot about it because I had a non-disclosure agreement. I didn't tell you about that at church. And so, Jason Wilson jumped me, the first time I went to the city council that I didn't tell them about it. Well, I don't tell those things. Once you sign those papers, you pretty much, it's a legal document.
Yep.
You pretty much got to keep your mouth shut.
And lots of discussions about NDAs through all of this, and we have never, we have certainly never said that NDAs should never exist. There's appropriate applications of NDAs. So, all right. So what else?
So we're it's off our table, and then. I remember the day it clicked. I mean, Craig Enser called me and said, "Are you seeing all this stuff on Facebook?" And of course, I was out of state at the time, and I had not. And like I said, I don't do a whole lot of Facebook. And so he tells me about it. And so then I did get on and start looking to see what all was happening, and realized they're talking about putting this at the airport. That was and you and I have had conversations about what we need to be doing at the airport. Mm-hmm. I mean, you and I have had this conversation for 5 or 6 years about let's do something at the airport. And I'm excited about what can happen at the airport. Mm-hmm. And so when they're talking about landing this at the airport, my knee-jerk reaction was, that's 100 acres of aviation. That's not made for a rendering plan. I had already looked at the rendering plan. There's nothing we wanted there for sure. And the next morning I got up, called Ivan Nelson at the City of Gadsden, and got on the agenda to speak for the following Tuesday.
Okay.
Somewhere between that time frame, I came back into the state, and they had set up the meeting in Southside.
Yep.
Which turned into a kind of a lynch mob, whatever mentality, and I was the guy standing on the podium.
And guys, if you want, you can go back. You go back in Facebook, probably somewhere in the opposition group, and you can watch that. That was one of the first live streams we did. So, if you want to hear it from the horse's mouth,
it was a traumatic night, if you put it that way. But yeah, I went there with the mentality that we don't want this at the airport, and that really was as far as I had looked at it.
Right.
This is crazy. We can't have this in the middle of our schools, in the middle of our other industry on aviation designated property. Well, I get there, and I did make one statement that my opponent is trying to hang me on, that a rendering plant has to go somewhere, which is still a true statement. Chickens don't come in nugget form; they actually come in whole chickens. So you got to do something with the rest of it, and that's But I've been hung on that I said that statement, and I stand by that statement. I did say that.
Okay.
But the people that night at that forum said, we don't want that in Etowah County.
They made it, and I will definitely say they made it abundantly clear.
We don't want it. They didn't just say we don't want it at the airport. They said we don't want this in Etowah County. Well, I'm on record, and actually I just shared it to my Facebook post yesterday of me speaking at the Gadsden City Council meeting, and that was on 12. I've got these dates written down because I don't have them in my head, but it's on 12/1/20, Gadsden City Council meeting.
Okay.
I stand up in front of them. I introduced myself, and I said, this is a bad idea. Basically, we don't want this, and many people in Etowah County don't want this in the county at all.
Okay.
I was the first elected official to speak to the Gadsden City Council regarding this.
Okay. I
spoke in opposition to it from the beginning, day one.
Okay.
I stand on that. It's a record.
Okay.
On 123, I spoke at the 8M meeting. I'm on tape speaking in opposition to it. On 8/20/21, we made a video here in this office speaking in opposition to it. That video was shown to the airport authority. And then on 8/27/21, I waited in line about 4 hours at the venue. I don't know if you were there and remember that, but that was a long day that I guess there was 100 people spoke in opposition
that was all live streamed. Yes, I was there.
I spoke to the ADM group, or not to the ADM group,
to the airport
authority at the venue. And then kind of joined it all up on, in November of 21, joined in the lawsuit with the rest of the commission, Rainbow City and Southside, to hopefully, put an end to this thing. And I think that did finally tip the scales over and get it headed in the right direction and got it gone.
And just so we're clear on all the words and technicalities, when you mentioned the lawsuit, it was the threat of the lawsuit.
Yeah, true. I'm sorry.
From Rainbow City, Southside, and the county commission. Which just there's been a number of lawsuits that everybody's trying to keep track of, and our original lawsuits are all actually still pending court tomorrow for the open meetings suit that's out there. So, all right. So you feel like you covered everything on where you stood on the rendering plant?
I feel perfectly fine with my stance on the rendering plant. I mean, and anybody that has watched this, anybody who is really connected to it and not just reading propaganda, knows my stance on it and knows where I've been from the beginning. So I'm good with that.
All right. Well, guys, again, all that stuff's documented. Highly encourage you to go dig through and see not just on Tim, but on everybody, and try to get a good, clear understanding of what went on. I would say that the rendering plant was probably one of the most documented things that has occurred in our community's history. So, tons of resources out there. All right. Again, guys, if you've got any questions, we'll see. If you're just enjoying the conversation, then we'll jump on through the topics. So our first one, we start out with I will always start the discussion about leadership, pointing out that we feel like the ultimate leadership needs to come from the people, from the community, which is where I put the onus on us as voters to learn about the issues and then learn about the candidates and their understandings about the issues, and then choose wisely as we go to vote. That's where the leadership should start with us as a community. But one of the absolute underlying issues that has led Etowah down the path that it has been on, in my opinion, has been troubled leadership or complete lack of leadership or just leadership leading in the wrong direction. So what do you feel like, why do you feel qualified to be a leader? Why do you want to be a leader in the community and not, I've said it multiple times. We don't need just elected officials. We need actual leaders that provide leadership. So why do you feel qualified to do that?
Well, I think I am a leader. I mean, I, for whatever reason, you don't really choose to be a leader. A lot of times that you just realize sometime and point that you are actually a leader. And I found myself in leadership roles. I mean, from being as a firefighter, and then just, as a city councilman at Rainbow City. I think the best way to decide is a leader effective or not, you look at, past performance. Did I get anything done? I don't think a leader is someone who just shows up to vote. I mean, anybody can just show up and listen to and cast a vote. And most of the time, that's a lot of what's happening. And I think a leader really has to have they have to have a compassion to start with, mm-hmm. to listen and not be, think they're right all the time. I mean, I listen to people bring their concerns and what they're telling me, maybe I didn't know anything about it. And they are the subject expert right there, right then. And a lot of times that's the case because someone who is, adamant about something, or someone who's really connected to something, has done a lot more research on that than the mm-hmm. person involved in that.
Right.
But talking about, past performance, I was talking to Rainbow City Mayor and Kenneth down there. Kenneth, I don't know if you know.
I don't.
Kenneth,
I'm still getting to know. There's still a lot of guys I haven't gotten to meet.
Kenneth Payne, I call him the assistant mayor.
Gotcha.
He actually runs the recycling program, which I will pat myself on the back on. That is what I was talking about, not just going in for a vote, but it being a leader. That's something that I started.
Okay.
I hate to put that, but when you do something like that and it makes you so proud, you have to step back and say, you know what, I had a big part in that. And again, I didn't do that by myself. You never do anything by yourself
Okay.
in government, but you do get to bring an idea to the table and get people on board, get people motivated in it, and then you push this button and you move that lever over here and you kind of slide this back, and all of a sudden something really good happens down the line. That's what the recycling thing is in Rainbow City. It started off with a small grant to buy a couple of trailers, and an idea that I had that we need to do something with all this cardboard and stuff that's piling up. And the backside of that is what we were trying to do was reduce our garbage costs.
Okay.
What people were having to pay for waste. And so in looking at that, and again, it's not a profitable thing if you look at just the bottom line.
Okay.
Recycling is very hard to make any money in recycling, but if you look at the big picture and what it's good for the environment and what it does for the cost of getting rid of all that. I actually talked to Kenneth just to kind of get some numbers together the other day when we were talking about it, but they've moved over 300,000 pounds of cardboard annually to that thing. I mean, just that doesn't go to our landfill.
I know I've contributed a few.
Yeah, I do. And then they send like 4 trailers a week of plastic to be recycled. So I mean, all that stuff doesn't end up in our oceans and every place that we don't want it, our rivers and creeks, and so those things matter to me.
Okay. So there you go on leadership. Let's move on to government structure. One of the things that has really been identified through this rendering plant thing is some frustration with how for us in particular, the airport authority and the IDA that and there's been we've had a lot of discussion about the very nature of how our government is structured in Etowah County and the kind of inherent issues that are there, or I'll say inherent challenges that perhaps some other communities don't face. What are your thoughts on, and the other aspect of that is board members and I'll say duplication of effort, or you've got multiple board members that serve on a lot of boards sometimes, and the rendering plant was the extreme that actually really pitted interests of each individual board against each other. While you've got some guys that are on the IDA that are, they're trying to push industrial recruiting, they're also representing the airport. And so you've got to wonder, is there a conflict of and I know not every issue in the community is that to that level. But what are your thoughts on the way our government's structured around here? Good, bads, and uglies. What could we do better? What are your thoughts on all of that?
Well, I mean, the government is structured as it should be, in my opinion. I mean, there are different entities who have different roles. Cities have a lot more leeway in the things they can and can't do, and the commission is really governed much by state law.
Right.
And so there are ways that the cities can move in a direction that the county can't move, and there's things the county can do that the city can't do. What we need to do is just work together and make things where our strong suit is, push hard with our strong suit, and let the cities push hard with their strong suit, and let's push together. Mayor Taylor and I keep bringing Rainbow City up because that's my hometown, and that's where I have worked a long time.
Right.
We are working so closely together right now on some really big things. I mean, people on the state level are talking about things that we've got going that are so exciting and so innovative that it's fixing to be opened up pretty soon. And that's what I'm talking about. We have got to get to where there's a trust and there is a relationship built. I have built a strong relationship with the mayor of Altoona and the mayor of Walnut Grove. I had a lady on Facebook, excuse me, a lady on Facebook said, just tell us what you're at with and ask them if I've done a good job. And if I have, then I'm doing what we need to do as a community. I'm doing what we need to do as a leader.
Okay.
And so that is what I believe we can do together is work hard, pull ourselves in one direction. And again, it starts with trust, and it starts with really personalities. I mean, you don't work good with anybody until you know them.
Right. Well, and so I think that answer opens up the door to jump into the master plan discussion, that concept. So I'm assuming then that you're in favor of developing some kind of master plan. What are your thoughts on that, and what can you do from the county commission side of things to push that, or to lead in some of that effort?
I think trying to bring everybody to the table, because we are the center point. We are the central part. But each little city needs to be working on their master plan. Because again, they do have their own entities, and we can't take over their entity as a big group and be the lording.
Gotcha.
We're not the lording group over Etowah County just because we're the Etowah County Commission. I feel like we're an umbrella group that tries to help everybody, tries to bring everybody together under that umbrella. And I think that's what we need to be doing. But each individual city needs to be working on their master plan. What do they see? What do they need? And start working on those things. And then if we can help them with that, let's help them with that. If we can connect, Rainbow City and Southside together on a good plan, or we can connect Walnut Grove and Altoona together on a good plan that they can work together on, and we could come in beside them and work. That's where I see a master plan. I don't see us developing a master plan for Etowah County that the commission says, this is your master plan. Everybody builds your master plan, and let's see if we can weave them together and make a great master plan that moves us all forward. That's what we're trying to do. We're trying to make a better community for our kids. We're trying to make better education systems. I've got I don't even know if that's going to come up in later on.
We're going to talk about education.
Okay,
yeah.
I'm excited about what's happening in our education system and some of the things. I know we've got some issues that we probably need to talk about, but the overall touch of our education system right now is positive.
Okay.
There's a lot of positives going on right now.
So there is a comment: if the cities have a master plan, the county will be 90% covered. Which, as many cities and municipalities as we have. Although as I listen to that, I definitely would say there can be some concern that if we end up, because, as we talk about the government interaction and government structure, when you've got 11 to 13 municipalities all packed into this area, if we ended up with 11 to 13 different master plans that were in contest with each other, that's also not necessarily a good thing. And to the point of, we really you gotta have the personalities that'll work together.
Well, that goes back to electing the right people and knowing who those people are, and not just re-electing the same people. Vet them.
Yes.
Decide that you got this chance to elect me again. And then I'm done. This is my last term as county commissioner. If I get this one, I said from the beginning I'm going to do eight years if you have me, and then I'm done with this. I've got 6 years on as a city councilman in Rainbow City. I'll have 4 now, and then if you give me 4 more, that'll be 14 years of community service plus the 30 as a firefighter. I'm gonna go fishing a little bit more.
Okay.
After this term. So, I mean, I'm not set out to be a career politician. That's not my goal. But right now we've got some things going on the county level that I'm excited about.
Okay.
And I'd love to see that through, and I'd like to see that finish. I'm ready to see something happen at the mega site, and we are moving forward with that in a big way.
Well, since I own the mic and the live stream, I'll make a shameless plug. If you're looking for a good tackle shop, I know one at Bucks Island when you are ready to do some more fishing. So, all right. Sorry, y'all can get mad at me if you want for
Shameless
plugging
plug.
that, but they've been good to me and allowed me a lot of flexibility to do this crazy stuff that we've been doing. So let's talk about infrastructure. Which, as I'm learning more and more about what the county commission does, infrastructure's a very key aspect of what you guys do. That's definitely been a hotbed topic. We've got a Clean Water Act case, a suit that's out there. We've had the sewage overflows. Another plug for if you see sewage overflows, keep snapping photos, video, and get those to Coosa River Keeper. All that stuff needs to be documented. And a lot of that is even for those that are trying to help fix those things, a lot of that helps get more money. And for those that may not be prioritizing the money to fix some of those things, hopefully that can help prioritize. I know, and I know there's efforts right now, with the city of Gadsden and the water sewer, they're working on trying to resolve some of that. But infrastructure obviously has been a big discussion, and as we look ahead to the future, it's not just about potholes today. It's about the holistic infrastructure for us as a community, to move forward, whether it's to just look better, to make people happier to live here. People want to move here, but also the infrastructure to bring in the businesses that we want, or just to help grow the businesses that we already have. So, what are your thoughts on the overall infrastructure as far as growing business, and getting things going around here?
Well, there's no doubt that you've got to have the infrastructure in place. You've got to have exactly what that industry needs, which uh, leads back to the point of you really got to know who's coming to dinner so you can decide how much to cook. But knowing them will help that. But there's a baseline infrastructure that we need to be working on before they get here.
Okay.
And again, that's the problem that we've got, especially in the city of Gadsden. And a lot of it just goes back to money. It goes back to getting the amount of money involved into it that it would take to fix it. And it's such a large problem. Uh, when you start talking about digging up streets and putting in pipes and all the things that it has to have, and then all the overflow, and then,
Mm-hmm.
of course, the huge storms we've been getting in the last 2 or 3 years that you can't do anything about, it's a large problem. And there's no small fix. Well, this is how we need to fix it.
Okay.
It's a cooperative effort by all the cities involved and the county get involved in that and start to try to harness as much federal infrastructure money as we can and state money as we can through ADM or whoever, so that we can address those issues. But again, it's a big issue
Okay.
that won't get fixed next year, and it won't get fixed in the next 5 years. So you just got to start trying to eat that elephant a little bite at a time and get ready for. We need to fix what we got going on as we
Right.
go. But as we decide, if we find out who's coming in the industry, then we address that exact issue.
Okay. Danny Starnes always bringing up good questions. I think this ties in. Um, and he said, not sure this applies to the county commission. I hear a lot of the Gadsden city council members all wanting things for their district. Is there any way to counsel them as to how all districts should work as one, and build a better Etowah for us all? And I think tying that straight into the county commission, as actually Mr. Overstreet explained some stuff that I was not familiar with in terms of the limitations of how that money is allocated. Roads is a big
Right.
thing for you. How is that? How is the existing county commission, operated with those limitations on the money? And to Danny's point, it doesn't necessarily mean, if there's an equal distribution or everybody's trying to, collectively, you need to look at, as a county, maybe we need to spend some money over here, and I'll use to Dan. I mean, East Gadsden has a major sewage problem, and so the idea that there would be equal distribution of funds for infrastructure to all districts, I would think that there's most of the other people that live in most of the other districts that don't have sewage in their in their living room would say, no, spend the money over there. We're fine for what we got now. I know everybody's got to represent their own district, but I think I'm going to have hope. I'm going to be optimistic that most people in this community, if they really understand what's going on, they won't gripe as much. I know us constituents will always gripe. So what are your thoughts on that, and the allocation of funds and dealing with that with the county commission?
Well, I don't. Just to the city of Gadsden, I don't know exactly how they govern what
Right.
they do. I hope that they have a lot of weight is put on their engineer to decide where a lot of that
Gotcha.
money goes.
Okay.
And maybe I'm sure there's discretionary money for each district, but surely there is a master plan. And again, I wouldn't be privy to that master plan from the county seat, but
I'm gonna hit on the city of Gadsden. There is a master plan from 1977 or something like that. But so let's take that to the county commission, and I think roads is a specific topic in terms of fund allocation and how y'all get after tackling roads.
Well, I think that's been addressed somewhat, and it's a true statement. We're underfunded on our roads. We don't have enough to do what we're doing. I actually fuss about this every Tuesday. I don't know if you know Harvey from Etowah, but Harvey, he's at every meeting, and he actually given me a pat on the back, saying, I appreciate you fussing, because I fuss almost every week about we are not having enough done on our roads, and we've got to do more. And that more just relates to dollars. In the last couple of years, my fussing, I think, has got the reason for that. You can ask the CFO, but we've been able to move another $1.4 million of existing tax money over into the road budget. We've consolidated our road crews, pulled into one shop, and saved a couple $100,000. So we're doing some things that are better. We've upgraded our equipment, make us more efficient, but it's a huge problem, and it's getting more and more prevalent and more exacerbated by the rising cost. Our cost has gone up. Well, paving, and I'm talking about tar and gravel, has gone from $43,000 a mile when I was elected, and now it's $58,000 a mile. A 33% increase in the last 4 years on just paving costs. And I'm not talking about us getting it ready.
Right.
I'm talking about the company coming out there and shooting down the tar and gravel. That's not, doesn't count the hundreds of man hours that it took to get it ready for that point. And so we've got this enormous burden that's been put on us. I've actually, and I don't know if this is legal or if this is what, but I actually sent an email to the Attorney General asking him, that office, to look at this situation. We had 5 paving companies in 2018, and now we have 2. The 2 largest ones bought the other 3 out, bought up all the raw material, the quarries. And so now, to me, I feel like we don't have a fair bid given to us. I think it's very slanted. I mean, and it obviously is with a 33% increase, and that's just in tar and gravel. Asphalt's gone up equally as much, and so we're not even able to even consider doing asphalt. It's about $300,000 a mile.
Gotcha.
And so our budget's not enough.
Okay.
So I've been working hard to get our budget moved over that. I've actually asked, and I didn't get any traction with asking the CAO and the CFO of the county to talk to the other department heads. Is there a way that you can cut costs by 5% through attrition, through saving water, through whatever? Can you find a way to save 5% on your budget at the jail, at the tag office, at all these places? It didn't ever get any traction, but those are the ideas I've got. Again, it's a minor amount of money from the money that's needed. I'm hoping for a federal infrastructure bill to come down, and that we will be able to harness some of that and use some money from that will help us get caught up. So,
all right. So I'm we're sitting on 40 minutes here. So I want to note that somebody asked about, can we borrow ourselves into good roads, or do we just Band-Aid the situation? I think from what I'm learning about the road situation, I think we probably need to have a whole other just dedicated show, and talk deep into roads and ideas on how to fund, how to get more money. That's an interesting, and I'm not going to let you answer that because I think we could keep going and going, but I'm assuming that
I'd like to touch on that if you would let me.
Would you?
Just for a second.
All right. I want to
I've
move
got
on. I want to move
all
on.
right,
So
I want to
okay.
touch on that for just a second, and because it's been done, and in 2008 they borrowed $10 million to pave roads, and they paved a good many roads and things were better or whatever else, but they borrowed it for 15 years, and roads last 12 to 15 years, and so next year we'll have that paid off. Last year, $1 million went out of our road budget to pay on that bond from 2008.
Okay.
And so it's like borrowing for Christmas.
Right.
And we're about November right now. We're fixing to make the last payment, but we're fixing to have to borrow for Christmas again. And it's just really an endless cycle. If you're borrowing money that far ahead of time and your roads are going to be worn out by the time you get it paid off, it just doesn't make any sense. It doesn't. It puts a Band-Aid on it, and we need a Band-Aid. We need some heavy gauze right now on our roads. I don't think that's the right answer. It was an answer, and I'm not going to second guess their answer. That was in 2008, and I wasn't there with all the facts.
Oh, yeah.
I'm not trying to second guess that. I'm just saying I don't think you can do the future generation right by borrowing another $10 to $20 million. And even when we borrow $10 million, we're not going to make a big dent in it the way the cost of it is these days.
Well, and we again, I think the road conversation and better understanding, and maybe I'm just being selfish, but I there's a lot to unpack there that I had no clue. Again, through this rendering plant, there's a lot of us that all of a sudden are going, okay, let me get smarter on this, and it's like a stinky onion. Every time you peel a layer back, you just, all right, well, let me understand this. And to your point, if they're going back in 08, certainly all of us that live through that, understand that just like we're experiencing now. Back then, it was an unprecedented, crazy thing that was occurring with our economy and all that kind of stuff. So I encourage you to dig into that. But I think we want to move on from infrastructure. Again, it sounds like there's a lot to unpack if people want to talk about how do we get roads, because everybody sits around and armchair quarterbacks what roads need to be paved and all that kind of stuff. And just from my experience of life as working for the Navy and the federal government system, it ain't that easy. Would be the way to go. So okay, let's move on. We'll jump into near and dear and to your heart. We'll talk about some first responder issues. While again, I said at the beginning, we could do a whole other show on discussing the first responder issues, and I certainly would love to do that with whether it's you or other other first responders around the community to help us as citizens that aren't in that world understand what's going on. Obviously, this was not something directly related to the rendering plant. Perhaps the most direct impact was the discussion that the firehouse out at the airport is closed regularly because of manning shortfalls and overtime limitations and all that kind of stuff, which obviously that would be a major impact on the response time and capabilities to support, had they built something like that out there or any of the businesses that are out there. And then, it's been discussed, it's whatever, $10.38 for, a starting salary in the fire department. Again, we do a whole show on that from the county commission hat. What's your perspective on that? The impact of our first responder issues and what can be done. What can you do directly from the county commission side of things?
I would say I can't do anything from the county commission side on an entity that's a Gadsden issue. I mean, we don't have any authority with them at all.
Right.
And but on a county commissioner representing the people, which the people of Gadsden are Etowah County people. And
Right.
we sometimes try to, seem to forget that they are part of our group. Just because they live in the city doesn't exclude them. They're not getting the service that they deserve. They're not getting what they had. We had probably 10 years ago, we had somewhere around 50 paramedics on our department. We're just over 20 now. Paramedics are an entity that people need. I mean, every small department has gone to where they're running ALS calls, and those advanced life support calls call for a paramedic. Well, those supply and demand.
Okay.
The rate's going up. Well, it's not going up in Gadsden, and so people are leaving. We are losing the quality people that we need for our future have gone, or not all of them gone, but I mean, they're leaving. And it's the people who can go somewhere else and get a good job that are leaving. And so we're losing our future. And the people inside Gadsden are losing the response time of putting, when I was, it was 10 years ago, we'd show up on the scene, there'd be, 3, maybe 4 paramedics. The ambulance show up, be 5 paramedics. You get some good care. I mean, you get somebody, I'm talking about people not breathing, unconscious, not breathing. They get some good care, and we turn that situation around a lot of times with the right personnel. When you don't have one paramedic on the scene, he's overwhelmed. There's too much to do. And, he's got good support staff with him.
Okay.
But it goes back, and I will say this. Their problem goes back to appreciation and the guys needing to feel appreciated and respected. And that is a huge part. And I speak that as a personal, I'm there.
Right.
When you feel disrespected and you lose your motivation for your job and you look for a different job. And that's what's happening. And so money will help, but appreciation and respect goes a long way in that.
Well, and certainly, I've kind of tongue in cheek joked about it's always, this cliche for military and first responders. Oh, we should get paid more. You're right. Nobody gets into those jobs because they're looking for big dollars. Culture, treatment, definitely plays a big role. Now go ahead.
I want to say one thing though. I've had the best job ever. That would have been the best job. I mean, it just makes me to be coming to the end of that career and have that as what I did as a career. I'm very proud of that.
Well, I'm going to throw you a curveball because it just occurs to me as we talk about the county, and we're talking about and you certainly have got some insight from being in part of the first responder side of things, but the aspect of the mega site and wanting to attract business out there, and part of servicing that, certainly if you all of a sudden overnight, or obviously not overnight, but let's say in 2 years you've got an industry out there that's 1,500 jobs, and assuming that it's some sort of heavy industry, it's definitely got its own, what from the first responder side of things, and as a county commission, maybe that's where that kind of stuff crosses. How do we get after, if we've kind of already got a shortage, and have manning issues, and all of a sudden we want to build this big, grow some big, major industry out there. I'm assuming that's going to increase the demand, and capabilities. And what are your thoughts on that?
That's going to change the landscape, period. When we bring in something big out there, it's going to change the landscape.
Okay.
We're working on that plan. There is a master plan in place. I'm not at liberty to divulge that right now, but it's not going to hit us by surprise when that happens. And so we're working on that. There's a good group of people putting this together, and they let me tag along.
Gotcha.
So, there's answers to those questions.
Okay.
And I think once something lands there, we're going to pull people from other counties and stuff, and we're going to be able to pull some people in those roles that we need them there. Um, it's a great place to live, and I think once we get a little bit more uh, limelight put on us as far as where we're at, and when something starts to come here, people are going to realize what a gem of a place this is. And I'm going to touch on that for a second. I was talking about
Okay.
that this morning. I want the people of this community to start, the ones who believe that it's a great community,
Mm-hmm.
as I am one of those people that believe that. Start speaking up, because we got so many people out there saying, "Oh, this is and the gloom and doom, and how sorry this place is, and how bad that is." And this is a fabulous community.
Mm-hmm.
This is a fabulous place to live.
Mm-hmm.
We have so much resources here. We have so many good people here. We have so much to brag about. Let's shut the naysayers down. Be positive. And that's where I think we talk about a master plan.
Yep.
You talk about a community growing. You talk about the things we want to happen, that you
Right.
and I want to happen.
Right.
That's where it starts, is us talking about, we're talking into existence. Let's talk about how great this place is.
Right.
And our kids, why would I leave? This is a great place. If we tell our kids forever, this is a sorry cesspool, well, they're going to want to get out of here.
Yep.
Well, I wouldn't blame them, but this is not a sorry cesspool. This is a great community, and it's getting greater by the minute.
And you know, I would definitely point out as you say that, certainly folks could misconstrue what we're trying to do with Advanced Etowah, that oh, they're just raising Cain, and that we're making, you know, we're making a big stink that's making it hard, or encouraging people to not want to come in here and build business, and that is quite the opposite.
I agree
you know,
with you.
we would not put the time and energy and effort in to doing what we're doing. I would not be sitting here doing this if I didn't have some belief and hope that collectively our community is a phenomenal community and has, and we've talked about the endless potential. And we've got some amazing people that are here, amazing little businesses. You know, I always, you know, I point out Jonathan McCormick and his group of guys. I mean, guys, he's got a couple of older guys that are out there with him, some good seasoned, experienced guys. But for the most part, he's got a shop full of young, 20-somethings and 30-somethings that bust their hump and turn out award-winning airplanes and do some amazing things out there. And well, I hope folks do get that this is all about trying to encourage. And I think, we've got a lot of politicians that I do think have that heart to want to grow, but you're 100% right. And it all goes back to us as a community, as leaders, as citizens, as voters. If we sit around and say it'll never change, it'll never get any better, then that's the way it'll be. It will be a self-fulfilling prophecy. And so, I'm tired of listening to it'll never change. Well, if we never try to make it change, if we never try to do good stuff, then of course it won't ever get there. So, somebody said best county in the South. I'm going to say we're getting there. I do love, I could live anywhere in the world, anywhere in the country, and I'm fine and happy living here. I don't know that I go so far as to say we're the best county in the South so far. Certainly beautiful with tons of potential. I think we can become, become that.
We have plenty of potential.
Absolutely.
We have plenty of potential to grow on.
And I think, it's a fair conversation as you talk about that and rah the troops and it's all 100%. But back to the whole purpose of all this and what our focus is that the reality is that we do have a lot of kids as they grow to go find good paying, decent jobs to live that life, the lifestyle they want to live. They do have to go someplace else because we don't have, or they've got to commute, and there are plenty of there are those that are willing to sacrifice.
But that's the thing that's changing. That is the thing that is changing, and it's changing quickly. people don't. I mean, most of these things they talk about. Well, that's a 20-year whatever.
Yep.
Things are speeding up here.
Okay.
At the mega site, things are really kicking up, speeding up. We don't have somebody set that we're coming, but we're getting a lot of looks. We're getting a lot of input from the state level. We've got a lot of things, groundwork laid already there. You know, the Gadsden State, Dr. Murphy came over and spoke with the county commission yesterday, and she wasn't really at liberty to make an official statement, but they're tearing down buildings over there. Getting ready for something big, which is the Advanced Technology Center that we've been talking about for a year.
Well, let's jump into that. That's a perfect segue into the education piece of what's going on in our county, and the current state of our education system. And again, there's a lot that we could unpack with that, but from the workforce development, preparing our kids for the world of the future, and what are your thoughts on where things sit with us, countywide?
I think we are moving as a county to be in the front of that pack. I really do. We have got so much potential, and we're not just laying there. The trade school over there with Mark Stansel and that group, they're for our high school students to get a foot on the ground and figure out what they want to do.
Mm-hmm.
A great program at high school. Transition over to Gadsden State, we're looking at putting in a whole new Advanced Technology Center, which is going to be a state-of-the-art thing where we'll be able to take our students over there from the high schools,
right?
And they walk through this thing, and it's going to be made out of, excuse me, I hit the microphone, made out of pretty much glass walls where you can see what's going on inside that classroom and without interrupting. And they will be able to go over there and look at it, turn around and tell them this is a job that you can walk out of, a 2-year thing here and start making $70,000 a year. My son-in-law, which I told you I was going to touch on, he went through a program over there called FAME.
Okay.
A great innovative program where industry comes in. The school takes applications, puts together about 25 or 30 students, and the industry comes in there and interviews them and basically hires them as part-time and lets them do like a job training apprenticeship program, basically.
Okay.
And so they go to school about 3 days a week and learn the hands-on or the technology part of what they need to do, and then they go to work for about 30 hours a week and make money.
Right.
For their families. And my son-in-law was a little over 30 when he went into this program. And now he is a systems technician or some kind of technician. He came out of there and he got hired by Honda, who sponsored him.
Okay.
He went to work at Honda, but he didn't go work on the line. He's there kind of like a millwright. He basically takes care of the systems and troubleshoots their problems there. And so that's just another little program that's put in place there. You don't just go through there and get you a 2-year degree. You go there and get something that makes you specialize in something where you can get out and you can make some serious money right out of the gate. And those are the kind of things that will make our children realize this is a great place to be. And then, we have all these automotive plants right around here. If my children move to Huntsville, it's not terrible.
Right.
Not my best choice.
Right.
But at least I can drive to see them.
Right.
But if they have to move to Charlotte or something like that, it's a whole different thing. So we've got so much going on in our state in this little hub of within a 2-hour window of where we're sitting right here.
Oh yeah.
There are plenty of jobs in industry. We just need to train our young people in those jobs and put them to work.
All right. Moving right along. Again, Danny Starnes with a good comment that I think will lead us into the final discussion about business growth and business development. And he said, we always hear politicians talk about needing more money, but few explain how to grow tax revenue without raising taxes and being a bigger burden on residents. However, if we build a bigger tax base, with new business, in my opinion, we need more business-focused leaders in all positions, and I think he makes a good point. And I've seen some discussions as we talk about, obviously this occupational tax is a big source of conversation, and this big concern of raising taxes in Etowah County, that burden gets distributed amongst the population that exists here. And I personally, I agree wholeheartedly. The thought process needs to be, if we grow the tax base, if we bring more dollars in to spread around, then, you may not even necessarily need to raise taxes. You'll end up with more money. I mean, the cost of your road, while unfortunately the taxes or the price is going up, that in theory wouldn't go up 33% on a regular basis, and you wouldn't need more money. It's a fairly fixed cost, fixed number, mileage of roads and all that kind of stuff. But, we can get more money with business growth. So anyways, I'm rambling into the business, so all of this that we talk about, and how it comes to fruition, to growing business from within, encouraging what's already here to grow, encouraging people that have ideas and businesses they want to start here. And then, of course, obviously, recruiting folks in. I guess we'll just kind of continue on with that theme and that discussion on where do we go? How do we make the business environment good?
Here's the different side of that argument, that, we need our county to do this, and we need our county to make more of this, and we need our county to do that. And the truth of the matter is, and this is a conversation I had with Jason Wilson the other day, he has started his second business in about a year.
Yep.
Which, I mean, he's got 2 restaurants going up and going. It's not the county or the city's place to start a business. It's our place to support that.
Okay.
And help the infrastructure be in place. But it's the community, it's the leaders in the community, the business owners, the business entrepreneurs who start the businesses. We don't start businesses. All we can do is support them. We can help put the infrastructure in place for education so that they'll have good employees, which draws in big business. But small business is a huge part of that tax base. And you're right about the tax base. If we grow the width of the tax base, it solves many of our problems without raising the taxes. I hate raising the taxes. I mean, I'm raising them on myself if I were to raise them, which, I mean, the county can't raise a tax. We as an entity cannot raise a tax.
Okay.
But it has to come through the state. Cities can do it. But on the road thing of it.
So don't beat up on any of the county commissioners if you're griping about the tax rates.
So we don't raise, but the people themselves are the drivers. The businesses themselves are the drivers. The entrepreneurs, the David Chadwicks, the group who put something out there and they build this big entity. Jonathan McCormick, what a great business. What a unique business. And he brings people to our community with money, and that that was the one thing that I thought about over when the stupidity started to happen at the airport. Is what a waste, because he was going to have to leave, and that is his business to me is one of the most exciting things in Etowah County. What he does out there is phenomenal.
Yeah, and I don't know exactly where he's at, but when I was out there at International Jets, 99.8% of every dollar that comes into his business is not from Etowah County.
No.
And so it's from all over the world, and that's money that gets taxed. And
my thought on that was we do have a great community. We do have a really cool place here. And so these people who have the toys that he paints, they've got discretionary money.
Yep.
Maybe they decide to come here and build their own business. Mm-hmm. Maybe they decide this is a really great place. So he brings a unknown to our community by bringing in people who have the resources to start another great business in this area. So, I mean, I just felt like.
Hey, well, and I'll step on that and say the airport as a whole, people need to understand that the airport is a gateway drug for a lot of big major industries. People can gripe about big businesses or high dollar organizations, and I'm no expert by any stretch, but they don't have flight programs and flight departments simply because they want to flaunt how much money they have. They have it because the movement of people and stuff, is a logistic piece for them, and it's more cost effective for them to do that. What that means is that when they stop off at our airport, and they look at our community, you're right. You never know, and certainly as you recruit them in, that has to be an aspect that has to be considered. It's not about rich folks having rich airplane, big airplanes and looking fancy. That's not the majority, but obviously a lot of, like you said, a lot of Jonathan's clients, customers, they've got the discretionary dollars. They have some fun airplanes, but and you never know. I mean, he's got a guy that was the first civilian captain to fly into space, and Jared Isaacman, go look him up. They made a Netflix series about him, and he was hanging out in Gadsden like a week and a half before he went into space, and that's pretty cool.
That is very cool.
So you just never know. All right, well. I don't see any other, just cleaning up and making sure we're good with all the questions. I appreciate you guys hanging in there with us as we've gone through. I guess in closing, any final thoughts you've got, last things that you kind of want to share and make sure that people know, and then I know you're not a huge Facebook user, but where can folks go find more information about you and what you want to do with another 4 years?
Just look me up on Facebook, Tim Ramsey, County Commission, District 4. I've got 1,000 ideas. We're working on 100 different projects, so there's a lot to be done. There's a lot to be said. Like the lady asked me, "What are you going to do for District 4 if you get reelected?" I'm going to continue to do the same thing I've been doing, and that is working every day as best I can. What the good thing about it is I'm fixing to retire from the fire department, so it's going to be kind of a full-time, part-time job because I like it. I like doing that. I like to get out and to meet with the people who have a need and see if we can come up with a solution to it. And at the same time, making all the connections together with Altoona, with Walnut Grove, with all these people. I've got a couple of big goals that I'm setting for myself for the next 4 years, and one of those is to do a ribbon cutting at the mega site. One of the others is to do a ribbon cutting at the sports complex in Rainbow City, something big there, and we're looking at those things. And then I want to be at a ball game at West End High School on the new baseball field.
All right.
Those are the three things I'm pushing for. On the baseball field, I've got the superintendent getting some surveying done already to figure out exactly where we're going to put that. It's a long process, and we're not going to build it this year.
Okay.
But in my next 4 years, you got to have goals, and those are 3 of mine. And so I could look at a whole bunch more, and the roads are obviously there. We don't have what we need in place for the roads, but the infrastructure bill hopefully will help us in that. And again, I'm just going to go to work every day, do the best I can, make the best decision I can for that day for the people involved in it, and then go to sleep that night with knowing that I did all I could.
Okay. Well, guys, again, there's some additional info, the questions that we've got posted. Go check out all the candidate profiles, advancedetowah.com. Just check out the election 22, and that'll take you over to all the candidate profiles. Click in there. But May 24th, primaries, that's going to be the deciding factor on the county commission races. And also our state reps. So working on getting some more discussions and interviews in, and then trying to get a couple of roundtable discussions put together. Mayor Taylor, Rainbow City, has been gracious enough to offer up using their facilities over there to try and get all you guys together and have kind of this conversation as a whole. Because we're very passionate, about this concept that we gotta see our politicians work together. We've got to get collaborated Whether it's a formalized master plan or however it looks, we've got, as a community, we've got to expect, or we've got to be fine with where we're at, and accept that, if Etowah is happy with the way Etowah is and doesn't want to change in any way, then we all have to just accept that as a community, that's probably going to limit the opportunities that we might have. I'm not saying that's the way it is, and I'm not picking on Etowah. They just start with an A and came to my mind. Same could be said for Rainbow City, and that's also a valid discussion for us to have. As a community. Obviously, I've seen a few folks say, "Well, we don't want to come to Birmingham." We're a long way from that ever being a problem. Trust me, I don't want to sit in traffic either. We still have plenty of room that we can do some things that will allow our kids to stay here, have good jobs, and enjoy the beautiful area that we have. Can
I say one more thing?
Yeah, absolutely.
Just a shameless plug on Mayor Taylor. The Etowah County Historical Society was looking for a home. And I don't know if you knew anything about this.
Is Mayor Taylor getting designated as a historical mark?
He's pretty old. Yeah, I got a lot of ugly things to say about him, but I'll keep those for later. But he did work with them, and I got involved in that and trying to get the Historical Society of Etowah County, and we've located them down in Rainbow City next to the rec center, making them a new home, and I'm excited about that. I wanted to let the people of Etowah County know that.
Okay.
They are going to have a really top-notch facility there that will showcase a lot of our historical documents from Etowah County, and I just want to throw that out there. Okay. And one other thing, don't let me forget, Kenneth Payne, our guy from Rainbow City, the mayor's assistant, puts together so many things, and this Saturday is Pancake Day in Rainbow City.
Oh, all right.
I think it's 6 to 12 or 6 to 11, something like that. I'm not sure about the hours.
All diet pancakes, I'm sure.
All diet pancakes, for sure. So get out there and buy you some pancakes in Rainbow City this Saturday.
Well, shameless plug for Pancake Day in Rainbow City. So, Tim, thank you so much for coming in and giving us taking the time to answer the questions. To all of you guys that are willing to throw your name in the hat to serve the community, we're appreciative. Trust me, in what little toe I'm stepping into this stuff, it's an interesting world. So I hope citizens take the time, get smart. Get to know these guys, go find them. I'm sure you're gonna be hanging out at Pancake Day. So come see them. I know there were a lot of the candidates out on First Friday, this past Friday. Get out there and talk. Don't vote for people just because you recognize their name. Don't vote them out just because they're an incumbent. Don't vote them out or dismiss them just because they used to be an elected official. You really need to dive in and you owe it to yourself as a voter to spend some time getting smart on the issues, or at least as smart as you can. And we're trying to make it easier for you to understand. So, and I've got a lot to learn. So, guys, y'all have a great afternoon. May 24th. Put it on your calendar. Make sure you show up for the primaries. Thanks, Tim. We'll talk to you guys later.